In this video, I'm going to show you how to model all of the plates within your building with the plates object. Before we look at that, I think it's important to understand how we modeled the architectural walls. So the architectural walls meaning the ArchiCAD walls. So a couple things I like to do. First one is I'm letting the wall drop down into the foundation by, in this case, 2 inches. That gives me the stucco coming all the way through over the concrete, which is more accurate. And then because of the building material strengths, the wall and the plywood are being removed for the foundation. So that works out real nice. Up here, we're running the wall all the way to the top of the floor, second floor. And because of the floor that is modeled here with the plywood, the gypboard, and the framing space, it's doing something similar. So we're getting the stucco running all the way through without having the break in the floor. And it represents how we actually build our homes when we stick frame. So here we have another wall. It's starting here at the second floor, running up to the actual wall height, the plate height. Then I've included a little wall segment here that I'm calling roof block. It's another complex profile that includes the stucco, the plywood, the shear, and then an 1.5 block, or in whatever the block may be. Have to modify it. And then running this through, and that's on the home story of the roof. And then we're doing a solid element operation to remove the top portion of this wall so that we're left with this little filler here, and that represents the block. So that's a very accurate model, and I think that's a good place to start. So now we go back into the floor plan, and we're going to be using this object, and this object is to represent the wall plates. And it's a pretty simple object to use. You're going to select what your top plates are. This is a double 2x top plate. It's level. We want to put angle to it. We can. Now you can see it's angled. Everything is referenced to the height in the horizontal dimension, or the width in the horizontal dimension. And you could do positive or negative angles, and the bottom plate, you have the same choice, and we're using a bottom plate as a 2x. Then we can hold the plates, the top and the bottom, back to allow for the framing of the adjacent wall. So we do one long, one short, and we hold it back this distance. So generally it's going to be the dimension of the framing, but sometimes you'll have a 2x4 go into a 2x6 wall and so forth. You'll have to modify these independently. Here we have the different wall dimensions. These are the nominal dimensions. Batch is for doing some reporting. Won't get into that. Here we have a building material, which is our wall framing. We have the option of a cover fill, which makes this a lot easier to see. And you may want to do something that's quite bold, at least initially, so that when you're laying these plates out, it's obvious where they're done and where they're not done. So the wall's 10'1", which is the appropriate dimension for this floor. And all I do is drop that in, and then I pull this. I'm going to run these walls all the way through. Do an F9. Bring this down to here. You can see the red's helpful. This wall is going to stop. We'll run this one to here, and we'll stop it. Do an F10, which is a copy rotate. Get that in there. adjust that. So when we go back into 3D, do an F3 so we see everything. And we're going to make the wall layer outlined. And there we are. We can see the plates. We do a Control F, brings up our find, and we can make that an object. This is activated, so any properties I pick up, and then I'm going to do name, and it automatically populated because I did that, and then I can select them all. If I want to make them a funky color, I can either do it here or I can do it in the, this is an override, probably a little easier. Then it's easy to see which plates are complete and which ones aren't. And the last step would be to go through and to get the long and short squared away. And this isn't critical. This can be a little tedious. So you don't want to, it's up to you how much time you want to spend. So this one's short. So I'll make this one long. Do that on both sides. That gives you the lacing of the plates like you'd expect. And just continue on through. We don't bother with cutting the plates out for the doors. Generally isn't an issue. The crews understand that the doors have to get cut out, and realistically they're going to get framed through to begin with anyhow. So that's how you use the plate tool, and plate tool becomes the foundation for putting in posts, studs, shear walls, door and window openings, which we'll cover in the subsequent videos.